It is budget time again, and the House and the President are working at coming up to some amicable position on taxes. And so they're thinking of cutting here and cutting there and cutting out of spending and so forth. And I want to advise Mr. Boehner and his chairman of the budget committee, whatever, that, you know, um, the more you spend, is the bigger the GDP is going to be, and the more people will be employed. So that to cut spending, you're cutting back the GDP. And at this point in time when the economy has not recovered is a bad idea. In fact, I think cutting back anything is a bad idea. There should be no cutbacks. They should be spending more. Just recently, the president has appealed to businesses to start the spending. And I'm telling you that there are other ways that the government could generate revenue that I'm going to explain right now. I have a plan, and I have a conference that I'm trying to schedule in Puerto Rico for sometime soon. I call it the World Infrastructure Forum or Conference, in which we hope people from the Middle East and around the world will come in and see how we could best create, growth and economic opportunity through infrastructure renewal in the world. Now, my plan is this, that if we fix all the bridges and roads, we will be able to go to full employment right away, because the monies that we're going to spend in the... Let me cut back here and say this. I think that the government don't have the money to spend, so we have to have an alternative way of funding this thing, and I'm working on that right now. I believe that, and it's just a figure that I'm, tossing on my head. Let me say that it would cost about $5 trillion to fix the bridges across the country and in Puerto Rico. When that $5 trillion are spent, and we have a multiplier effect, that is, when you spend $1, it continues spending for 20 times, then it's going to create 100 trillion sort of GDP. Now, what's going to happen is that when you start to spend that money on the bridges, then people will be able to pay the mortgages and the rent. The communities come back to life again. You have to have concrete going, steel going, a whole machinery going, a whole variety of things going to be happening. So jobs going to be creating all around. And then things like services like schools going to be reopened back in the communities. The cities going to get the property taxes, and the states and so on. And so we could spend our way out of this recession. I think that's the only hope, and that's the only thing I see that on the horizon that we could do, because the government does not have the money. I mean, Obama would like to spend, and you could spend your way out to this debt. But it's a problem. I mean, our debt could be derenegated by the bond rating people and so on. And this could lead to more fiasco. And then, of course, our primary financiers will not want to finance and make us more competitive and so on. So we have to go this on our own. But you see, with the $100 trillion worth of spending, and I know that it's not a perfect illustration, but with that 100 trillion, if the tax rate is about 25%, then the government is going to recoup $25 trillion. And this could spend down the debt and put us big savings so that Bush could come and go into some more wars. He got money to spend, Jeb Bush. You see? So I think that they should stop right now of cutting and getting people scared, and wait for our conference. Come and join us and help us to come up with some good ideas and help us to implement it so that we could have this thing going. So I think that this is the way to go, and stop the spending, no spending, and so we could get things moving.